everybody, thanks for watching. And just a quick reminder that Ancient Religion Volume 2 is now available. Make sure you guys check it out. Also, for anybody that's going to be in Las Vegas, and for my people that's already here in Las Vegas, make sure you guys check out this event on November 29th. Gospel of Hip Hop at the Housel's House on the campus of UNLV, taking place November 29th, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. It's going to be moderated by Taylor Cummings. She's been meeting with a lot of politicians and people in Las Vegas and just really addressing social issues and the psychology behind social issues and basically the psychology that we face, dealing with social issues. As you can see, I'll be on the panel by these other, people with these other people. So make sure if you guys is in Vegas, you check it out. And yeah, it's going to be cool. Just talking about the, hip hop and how it has affected the Black community, how we can use hip hop to change what's been happening. Basically, a lot of stuff I've been talking about, over the years with hip hop. It's going to be a question and answer session and stuff like that. So yeah, make sure you guys check it out. I'll post the video eventually on Merkaba Academy. So make sure you guys check it out if you're in the Las Vegas area at the end of the month. Also books. Anybody waiting for books? As I said, if you order the book, you will get it. I appreciate you guys' patience on the matter. As I said, it's been a lot of issues with that, and I appreciate you guys' patience and understanding on that. Also, Never Pay Again membership is still available. It will end soon, so make sure you guys take advantage. So yeah, as I talked about this before, I know a lot of people have issues with me. At the beginning of the video, I always talk about what's out, what's new. And, it's just a problem we have with a lot of people who just have issues with me selling stuff. So I don't understand what that's about. I understand what it's about, but it's crazy. So it's crazy to get so many messages and people just thinking this shit is about money. When I've been doing this for so long, I'm one of the people that have been on YouTube putting out this information the longest, been here for over a decade. And it's some people who find it funny or weird that we sell shit. And it's like, what are we supposed to do? Like, you have Black people who say they understand economics, who understand that, the issues we have in the Black community, the number one being economics. So, we're not supposed to sell shit. So I don't get it. I don't understand what's the issue. And it's like, people really won't support you because they have fucking hate for no reason. They don't understand why. Because they hate themselves. They hate what they see in the mirror. They hate their life. They hate their job. They hate a bunch of shit. So when they see somebody that they feel like is doing something, they got to hate on that, and it's one of the things that I've seen for a long time. And it's like, what's the issue? So we can go to the people who's been oppressing us our whole lives and go and support them and patronize them and buy from them with a smile on our face. Don't say nothing derogatory at all. No issues, no problems. But as soon as a person as soon as we sell anything, it's a scam. It's a problem. And, because we don't have the support that we should have, things are not always going to run smooth. And then that's always an issue. And people bring that up and then, it spreads out. And then people just, every little thing you do. Before I was selling books, before, any of this stuff happened with legal issues, when I put out my first video, it was issues about, why are you selling something? Like, I'm not supporting that. And this is the issue that we have. And again, like I told people this before, it has nothing to do with money. It has everything to do with support. And if you understand economics, then you understand how important support is. It's just that simple. And unfortunately, you have a lot of people who just, like I said, they hate themselves. They hate their lives. So anything you try to do that make it look like you coming up or you getting some type of money, there's going to be hate involved. Like, I don't deserve to get paid for the work I put out. It's crazy. So like, whoever the people who post that shit, I don't know what you think, what are you doing? What is that going to do? Like, I don't get it. It just make you look bad. And it just, puts a bullseye on you for me to just ban you from the fucking channel. But, I don't get it. I don't understand. Like, what are we supposed to do? So, if I was selling, what do I got to sell? Like, I guess if I was selling something cooler, like fucking video games or something like that, then, it wouldn't be a big deal. But me selling t-shirts or me selling, lectures, videos, it's a problem. This is the shit that we're talking about. But yeah, I'm making it to the video because it's election day. So we get into this every year. But this year is definitely not the same. It's the setup. It's the lead up to, the ousting of Biden. And you can understand that if you've been paying attention, you can see what's coming. You can see what's going to happen. So we got to understand the GOP, they want to get these seats because you're going to have to explain later on how Trump becomes president again. So yeah, we get Biden in there. Biden comes up when he first started running, and he looks like he's going to be a rock star. He's getting out of the helicopter looking, 20 years younger, putting on the, gloves and everything, and just showing people, he's going to, kick ass, or I don't know, forget how to kick ass. I don't know. But he came out all tough, and everybody thought it was going to be something. The same way people thought what Obama was going to be, this amazing thing, and it was nothing. You thought, okay, well, he's going to basically do what Obama didn't do. And no, he didn't do shit. Came on the Breakfast Club. He talked all that talk. Did nothing for black folks. It is what it is. But if you're paying attention to the last few presidencies, everything has been the scapegoat mentality. We're going to be able to pass things, against the people and use this president as a scapegoat, to justify what we pass. So in the case with Obama, it was like, okay, he's black. Even though a bunch of white people voted for him. He had the support of all black people, a bunch of white people voted for him. It's supposed to be this big unity. Everybody cried. But, the whole narrative is, he's black. Republicans don't like him. So they keep basically, messing with his bills. He's not going to be able to pass anything because the Senate is going to fucking, write it off or block it or what have you. But then he signs executive orders, just like Trump signs executive orders, which basically can, Fukushka, get rid of, the Senate vote. Like, you don't have to deal with that. You just sign executive orders to pass what you want to pass. Now, they could take it and fight it up to the Supreme Court, but it's highly unlikely that the Supreme Court is going to basically veto, something that the president passes, using executive orders. So we had that whole thing, Senate in a way, they're going to block Obama. Yeah. Trump said, okay, I got it in there. I'm going to do whatever, but his whole thing was the same situation. Democrats blocking, Democrats this, Democrats stopping them from doing this. Same thing. So they can also use Trump and say, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. He's actor, funny guy, reality show guy, whatever. He doesn't know what he's doing. So he can mess stuff up, and then we can just say, hey, this guy didn't know what he was doing. Whatever. He ran on racism. I got a bunch of racist people running everything. And this is what we can say for his presidency. And then now we have Biden, and it's like, this dude is about to pass out and die any day. Senile as fuck. Forgetting shit. He got Alzheimer's. Something wrong with the guy. He's a problem. He has to go. Now, Biden makes sense because, we got to get somebody in here that's not cool with Putin, because we know what's going to happen with Putin in Ukraine. We know what that's going to happen. So we got to get a president that's not going to be cool with Putin during this time when this stuff happens. It's going to look a little weird, with Trump in the White House. And then we need all this stuff to go down. Then on top of that, we need the economy to take a big hit. And believe it or not, check the data. Trump was pretty good with the economy, believe it or not. He's doing well with the economy. And he understood, he understands business. So, he doesn't really fit for this term with Biden being president for the things that they want to accomplish. So, yeah, Biden had to come in, Trump had to go out, and then it's going to be another swap. So now one of the biggest things that's on this ballot that they talking about, you guys know, is school choice reform. So this is a big deal. It kind of goes into everything I've been talking about because you can understand what they're trying to do. So school choice reform, it's a good thing. It's a good thing when you really look at it, but it kind of sort of get rid of the whole critical race theory issue when you really pay attention. But at the same time, it fixes a problem that we have in the Black community. And that's, our kids not being able to go to good schools because their parents are poor and they live in a low income zip code. They're pushing this whole thing about, public school indoctrination. Pretty sure you guys heard about this now. Public school indoctrination. And they're basically talking about, hey, they're indoctrinating our kids. They're teaching our kids all kinds of crazy stuff. And the, test scores are low and the kids are learning about too much stuff they shouldn't be learning about. And it's a big deal. It's the whole thing same thing with critical race theory. They're trying to instill this for many different reasons, which we'll get into. But one of the main things is to now all of a sudden they understand that, well, wait a minute. black people, they're not getting adequate, adequate schools. They're not getting adequate, books and teachers, and they're not getting what they need to raise their kids right in the school system because of, the zip code. And then they just now figuring this shit out, right? Okay. So we need this reform to happen. But the reform is really about, this critical race theory thing and them now understanding that, well, wait a minute, it's a lot of black teachers out there, a lot of black teachers. Also, it's a lot of people that's homeschooling their kids, the woke people homeschooling their kids. And we can't have these kids outside of our control learning what we don't want them to learn. So, it's the same type of situation they did back with integration. These people don't like us, scared of us, they hate us, but they know we got the best shit. So in order to get them over to our side, we're just going to open the doors to them. And then if they want what's best for themselves, they're going to come right on in. And that's exactly what happened. So we came right on in. And what happened? We destroyed the black community. We destroyed black economics because we stopped putting money in the black community, start putting it in their community. So it's real simple. It's just, we're going to open the doors and let y'all come in. What doors have been closed to us for, forever? It's that door to those good schools. Because if your family ain't rich and live in those rich white communities, your black kid ain't go to those good ass schools. Meaning he didn't get, parents already have money if you live there anyway. But he didn't get those scholarships. He didn't get that education to get the scholarship and get into a good school and surround himself with kids that's educated and smart, and become something later on. So we've been denied that because our parents were poor. We lived in, a low income zip code. So we had to go to public schools, right? We're going to change that. Let me read this first. Story in America. America knows public schools are indoctrinating their children. It says here real quick. Americans' trust in the public education system has been failing for years and reached an all-time low this past June. It's not difficult to understand why. Public schools shut children out of the classrooms for months because of the COVID-19 pandemic and then forced them to abide by ridiculous mask and quarantine policies for even longer. The harm caused by school closures and mandatory masking will take years to undo. And yet there has been no apology or even hint of regret from the people responsible. And that's just them trying to attack the public school system, the government, the public school system. That's what this whole thing is about. Public school system. And that's because the bureaucrats and union lobbyists running the public education system aren't actually interested in educating or caring for students. Public schools' COVID response was just one example of their priorities. Another, which is far more concerning, is the woke material that has taken over the public schools curricula. From the ahistorical 1619 Project to the gender unicorn, leftist ideology is running amok in our public classrooms, and students are suffering as a result. Now I'm scrolling down here real quick where it says, reading and mathematics proficiency has dropped so significantly over the past several years that the U.S. reading and mathematical scores are well below the average of the countries, and it's been that way for a long time. In California, for example, the average 8th grader has the mathematical proficiency of a 5th grader. One would think this lapse in achievement would send off alarm bells in the minds of education leaders. And yet, state response has been to lower the testing standards for the sake of diversity, equality, and inclusion. This is what happens when wokeism replaces common sense. So, whole thing is, school choice reform, taking away this whole thing, which is a good thing, that, you have to send your kid to the school within your zip code. And that has to change, where we can say, well, I'm paying taxes. My tax dollars go everywhere. This is America. Like if I go to another state, I still have to pay taxes there. I don't just pay taxes in my state. If I go to another state, I got to pay taxes and they're going to give me that money back. So what's the difference? If I'm still in my state and I'm paying taxes, why do I have to go to this specific school in this zip code? Why can't I send my kid to what school I want them to go to that I feel is the adequate school for my child? Common sense makes sense, right? So the whole thing is now, LeBron, like he knew, hit it on the head. LeBron opened a school. So just like we have private prisons this private school industry is about to blow up. It's about to boom. Because now, if this passes, this whole reform passes, then now you can choose to send your kid to a school that's basically approved in, wherever. So you don't have to live in that zip code. That sounds crazy because it's like, well, if this is the best school, I'm going to send my kid there. But they know it's not going to work that way because not every parent's going to be able to send their kid there. And not every kid is going to want to go if, they don't have the adequate stuff. You're not sending your little ghetto ass kid to this nice, rich ass white school across town because you think it's going to help them out. Then it's not going to work that way. It's going to be some type of situation with that. But, you have the choice. But what this does is effectively, get rid of critical race theory, which they talk about in that whole article there. I want to read the whole thing, but it takes care of that. So when you hear words like wokeism, woke being a problem, like I don't understand why being woke is an issue. You gotta think about that. So this whole attack on consciousness, being conscious and being woke and just understanding what's going on is a part of critical race theory. They just want to change the whole narrative, change the name. Wokeism, being woke, that's a problem. These people who think they know shit and want to teach it to your kid. They want to teach your kid to hate themselves, to be, feel bad for being white, feel bad for being black, so on and so forth. And since you have this uproar of people having an issue with that in the public schools, and then now you can tack on a debacle with COVID, people are saying, you know what? I'm sending my kid to a charter school, private school, what have you, because I don't want to send them to these public schools because they don't know what the hell they're doing. Whereas in the black community, we don't have a choice. A lot of people don't have the money or the time to send their kids to these schools. And, it's an issue. But now you have this reform. And if there's money to send your kid to the school, if there's money to make it work, what are you going to do? So like I said, just like back, desegregation, that's what people are going to choose.